right. So let's try this again. Oh my gosh. So I don't know what happened before, but I am here now, and hopefully you all will see me and we can do this again. All right. So this is where we're starting. Um, wow. All right. So welcome back. Apparently, technology eludes me today, but I am here. Okay. So let me start all over again because I just got rid of that other video because it was a mess. It really was a mess. All right. So who am I? I am Veronica Burnett, speaker, author, advocate, life coach. All those things wrapped up in one. I am a mom of a 12-year-old who is in middle school, and I'm so not ready for her to grow up. I really just want her to slow down. Will someone tell time to please slow down? All right. If you are joining me, or when you join me, when you come back and watch this video, put something in the comment to let me know that you were here. Even if you came back after the first fumble. All right, so as you can see, I'm very bubbly and jovial. Love to laugh, love to smile. I love meeting new people. Most of all, what I love doing is serving. So that is what I do. That is my purpose. Let's see. I think that's about it for me. So let me tell you a little about this journey that led to Faith to Flourish. So back in 2015, I let go of an abusive marriage. Oh, let me just say this. In my mind, I'm a teacher. So I do have notes so I can stay on task because I will go off on a tangent. All right. So 2015, I let go of an abusive marriage. 2016, I completed therapy. I went to a lot of different classes, learning more about, um, uh, oh my gosh, domestic abuse, how to prevent it, um, how to serve those who have been through it, how to be sensitive to others who are experiencing it. I learned a lot over those 2 years from 2015 to 2016 and into 2017. I even gave testimony for one of the state delegates to help change the um, definition of domestic abuse, or just to add to it. That one was great because I was able to lend my voice even more to help people understand what it's like to experience domestic abuse, including harassment. And then in 2017 to 2018, I held 6 Better Days conferences. So that was birthed out of a conversation I had with God, talking to Him about the therapy, the classes, the trainings, the testimony. Like, God, what am I supposed to do with all of this? And He simply said, I want you to share your story, share your voice. And I said, okay. And between a, on this 20-minute drive to work, he gave me the entire downloaded blueprint of what this would look like. And so it was amazing to be able to pour into others. I brought in thought leaders. Brought in people who would be instrumental in helping someone reestablish themselves and reinvent themselves. So we did 5 of those for those who were experiencing abuse or trauma or experienced loss in their lives and they were ready to start over. And then the 6th one we had for teenagers who were graduating high school and going into college. And so we helped prepare them for college and life after that, and also included information about teenage violence so that they would know when they went to school and when they got into these other relationships, they would know what to look for, what the red flags are, and how to cultivate and develop healthy relationships. So that was between 2017 and 2018. And then um, in 2019, I published Better Days Vision Journal, which was my very first baby. So this is the Better Days Vision Journal. It has a lot of questions and it has places to write your they write in and put your answers in here. But this is what I gave you as the blueprint for starting over in my life. And so um, I just did what he asked me to do, and I put together the book because it helped me in my healing journey. And so after that, co-authored two other books between 2021 and 2023. One of them being Unmute Yourself, telling our story unapologetically, speaking our truth unapologetically. I don't know why I get that mixed up all the time. But it was an anthology with other women who were ready to unmute themselves and tell their stories of how they overcame and how they broke their silence in their lives and how they've taken their lives back and their power and control back from anyone who stole it from them or that they gave it to. So after that, in 2022, I became a certified life coach. I had been doing this all along, but I decided to get certified, which was amazing. So glad that I did it. And then 2022 to 2023, I coached over 30 women survivors of domestic abuse through my Life Transformation Academy. That was so amazing because I got to see transformation in real time and the joy that I saw and felt when these ladies took what they were learning, applied it to their lives, and turned their lives all the way around. Like they did 180s. And it was so amazing to see that. And that's where I get my joy from, seeing people transform their lives. Then in 2025, I published, oh yes, Faith to Flourish, my baby, my new baby. And so that one talks about the journey and growing faith. And there are ebbs and flows in this thing called faith. I put it together and it took me about 2 years to write it because I was going through all of the different changes and growing and learning at the same time. And so I felt like this book would be the book that would help another woman who is struggling or another woman or man who is new to faith, new to learning about it, and they need someone to let them know that you don't have to have this grandiose faith to say you have faith. You just need a little bit to see some results. And so that's why I wrote Faith Flourish. There are a lot of stories in there that are related to me and what I went through. And then there are others that I was able to interview and talk to, and they allowed me to put their stories in this book so that we could help the next person who's growing in her faith. And it does not matter what level you are on, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it does not matter. You can be at the top echelon of where you think you should be and still struggle in your faith. And so I believe that this book would be the blueprint to help that next person to grow even more, to catapult them even higher and even further. So let's get started. What is faith? And according to the Message Bible, in Hebrews 11, verses 1 through 2, this is in the Message Bible, okay? So if you know anything about the Message Bible, you know it's expanded and it speaks in everyday terms. So I'm just going to read to you what it says. The fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith, is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. It's our handle on what we can't see. The act of faith is what distinguished our ancestors, set them above the crowd. And then here's my favorite from the New Living Translation, Hebrews chapter 11. What is faith? It is the confident assurance that something we want is going to happen. It is the certainty that what we hope for is waiting for us, even though we cannot see it up ahead. So let me give you one definition of endure, and then I'm going to dive in, and then I will let you go, okay? Endure. Now, all of these matter, okay? Endure, all of these words that I'm giving you, they matter. The definitions matter, okay? Endure, remain in existence, last, to remain firm under suffering or misfortune without yielding. And synonyms for that is faith, experience, put up with, live through, brave, abide, persist, and survive. So why 5 days of faith? God gave me this idea. So he told me to share my story in my voice. Remember I told you that? So that others who've experienced what I've experienced will know that there's hope for them and that there's help for them. That is the very first thing he told me before I started the Better Days Conference series. It is the very thing that I hang my hat on. It is the very foundation of Better Days Coaching, the Life Transformation Academy, my YouTube channel, these books. It's the foundation of what I do, sharing the story that I've been through, my life story, and how God has transformed my life. All right. So why faith to flourish? I believe it takes a little more than abilities alone to flourish, especially when it's daunting. So, real quick story. When I left my abusive marriage, I did not have a clue how I would make it. I mean, I was not prepared to be a single parent. That was not in the plan. That was not in the cards. It's not what I ever dreamt of. I dreamt of having a whole family together, a husband, a wife, and children in this beautiful home. And we are working together to create a beautiful life together, right? That's what I envisioned. That didn't happen. And it was over within 18 months. It was wild. And I'll just leave it at that. So one day I said, God, I really just need you to help me. I need you to help me so I don't disappoint this little girl. Because at the time she was quite 2 years old. Um, I needed him to help me be better and not bitter. That's what I needed. And the long and short of it, I just needed him to heal me because I didn't want to spew on this little girl all the hurt that I had been experiencing. And so it wasn't easy for me because I'm the one who took care of myself most of my adult life. I made all of my own decisions. I didn't have to consult with anybody else. I didn't have to rely on anybody else because I could do it myself. But when life got to life in, I couldn't. And I needed to be able to rely on someone else. And it wasn't another person because no one else in my circle had been through what I had been through. Nobody else knew how I felt. And even though there are other women who have experienced domestic abuse, everyone's situation is different. Even though someone may have experienced loss in their life, her experience is different from the next person. And so, me being the person that relied on myself, I had to start relying on God. And this was brain altering for me because I could see the person next to me and think that I could rely on them, but I couldn't. But then there's God, and I couldn't see him. And he was the only one that I had to depend on. And so I had to just give it all to him. So that leads me to the chapter in the book that outlines the D.A.R.E challenge. So D.A.R.E is the acronym for D. Decide you're going to survive. That's what we're going to talk about today. Acknowledge that God is with you. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Redirect your thoughts and rely on Christ. That is Wednesday. And then execute before fear takes over. That's Thursday. Tonight, we're going to talk about making the decision. And the chapter that is in is called Faith to Endure, Trust the Process. So that's why I'm telling you. That's why I told you that little story. So I'm going to read to you just a little bit of that chapter so you'll know why the decision is so important in the process. It's the very beginning of the process. So when I was preparing to write this chapter, I was watching some TEDx talks of some strong women. I mean, they were really strong. They encouraged me to be authentic and persevere. I really needed to hear something encouraging because I honestly didn't know what or how I would write this chapter and make it make sense. It has taken me over 2 months to write anything other than the chapter title. What I wasn't going, but I wasn't going to give up on this. Anyway, one of the women said the word dare in her speech, and something in me lit up. And I immediately came up with this acronym to use for anyone who is battling with her faith in her enduring season. Now, how many know that when you leave a situation such as what I did, you are changing career or making life changes, you have to endure a process. And sometimes that process is long, sometimes it's short, ebbs and flows, ups and downs, bumps and roads, but you have to endure no matter how long it takes. So, D, decide that you're going to survive. You must declare this for yourself and make it your mantra. I will survive this. Even with God's direction, I will not die. In Psalm 118, verses 17 and 18, I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. The Lord hath chastened me sore, but he hath not given me over to death. So when I was experiencing all that I was experiencing, I had to start over. I was living in my parents' house with my daughter, 2 years old, and I needed to turn my life around. But it all started with a decision. The decision is the most important part of the process. It's the very beginning. Once you decide, when you make up in your mind that you're going to survive, that's when things start happening. When you make up in your mind that you want more for yourself, when you decide, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get over this, I'm going to get through it, you make a decision and a declaration that you're going to survive no matter what the situation is, no matter what comes up against you, no matter the disappointments, the letdowns, all of it has a place in the plan and in the process. But you make the decision that you're going to survive. You do what you need to do in order to grow. You allow this to grow your faith. You allow this to strengthen you. And let me tell you a little about strengthening. All of the things that I went through and all of the tasks that I had to do in order to grow in faith, they made my relationship with God stronger. When we go back to the definition of faith, confidence, assurance, hope, I had to be confident in the fact that I could trust God. I had to be confident in the fact that I could give this over to Him and relinquish control. I had to be confident that what I desired could happen. And then I had to be assured that His track record was perfect, assured that He was not going to let me down. He was not going to disappoint me. He was not going to leave me or forsake me. I was assured because I knew what He had done in the past with little. One thing that helped me along the journey was giving Him a little bit in the beginning. And this may sound elementary to someone else. It may sound crazy to someone else. But for me, who needed to have control of every aspect of my life, I needed to do this. So I gave Him, okay, God, I'm going to give you this. And I need to see that you got me. I need to see that you're going to take care of me and my daughter, just like you said. So I'm going to give you, and He came through every time. Like God will meet you right where you are. God will show up the way you need Him to show up, and then even better, right? So I gave Him something, and then He came through for me. And I was like, okay, God, you really do hear me. Because you really hear what I'm saying. So I would implore you to start there. Start with something small. If they're not everyone has this big crazy faith, but my Bible says you only need faith the size of a mustard seed. And that's what I was giving. That's what I was doing. I was exercising my mustard seed faith because I really did need him to show me that he would come through for me. I really did need to know that I wasn't going to be disappointed by him. That's what I needed. And so faith to endure starts with making the decision that you're going to survive. And I want you to survive. So I'm going to leave you with this one thing. I want you to ask yourself and ponder for tonight and into tomorrow when we will come back together here. What decision can you make today to strengthen your faith? What decision can you make today to strengthen your faith? I can't wait to see you tomorrow when we start talking about acknowledgement, acknowledging that God is with you. That's a beautiful thing. All right. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that something I said has encouraged you, has moved you, and will strengthen you on this journey. All right. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.